There's a strange phenomenon that happens when you finally stop caring. Not in the reckless throw everything away kind of way, but in the quiet release that loosens the invisible chains pulling at your every move. But how do you actually get to that place? And why do we care so much in the first place? The truth is, most of the stress, pressure, and chaos in your life doesn't come from the things themselves. It comes from how tightly you cling to them. Imagine walking into a crowded room. Maybe it's a casual gathering with friends, maybe it's a networking event, or maybe it's just a cafe, and out of nowhere you're convinced every pair of eyes is locked on you, your clothes, your posture, even the way you're sipping your drink, as if you've accidentally stumbled into the spotlight of some strange drama. But then, there's a shift. You let go. Not in the dark, nothing has meaning kind of way, but in the light, freeing sense of simply being. You're not performing, you're just existing. And that's enough. And what happens? The tension fades. Conversations feel lighter. People lean towards you without you even trying. You stop bending yourselves into shapes that fit someone else's expectations. And suddenly, all the heaviness turns into ease. It's almost as if the world has just been waiting for you to step aside and let things flow. But why is that? Why does life seem to fall into place the moment you loosen your grip? The answer lies in attachment. Think about it. The relationship you're desperate to fix, the job you're clinging to, the opportunity you're chasing. The more you force it, the further it slips away. But when you step back, the energy shifts naturally. It's not magic, it's psychology, because people, situations, and even opportunities respond to the energy you bring. Desperation pushes things away, calmness pulls them in, and most people never realize that. Call it the universe, call it life, call it whatever you want. It's always reflecting back what you project. When you stop micromanaging every detail, when you stop dissecting every interaction, when you finally loosen that death grip on control, things begin to align. And here's the irony. Most of the things you've been stressing over were never that serious in the first place. Life has this strange sense of humor. The harder you chase something, the faster it runs. But the second you stop sprinting after it, it strolls back like it never left. Think about the last time you tried too hard to impress someone. A job interview, a first date, or even just hanging out with new people. You over-rehearsed your words, double-checked your outfit, analyzed every tiny detail. And how did it feel? Forced, awkward, heavy. Now think about the time you barely tried. You showed up relaxed, didn't overthink, just let yourself be. And somehow everything flowed. Conversations opened up, people vibed with you, and it felt natural. That's the paradox. Effort kills the magic, ease creates it. And it doesn't just apply to social moments. It's true everywhere. Musicians talk about writing their biggest hits in 10 minutes. Artists say their best work poured out when they weren't even trying. Why? Because creativity and life thrive in a state of flow, not force. Your mind has two modes, focus and flow. Focus is control, overthinking, forcing, gripping tight like the world will fall apart if you don't. Flow is the opposite. It's where the magic lives. Athletes call it the zone. Writers call it being lost in the work. You've felt it too, in those moments where time disappears and everything just clicks. But here's the catch. You can't reach flow when you care too much about the outcome. It's like trying to remember a word stuck on the tip of your tongue. The harder you push, the further it hides. But let go, shift your attention, and suddenly it appears out of nowhere. And that's life. Most of your stress, frustration, and obstacles aren't because life is against you. They happen because you're holding on too tightly. Money, the more desperate you are, the harder it is to find. Love, the more you chase it, the quicker it runs. Even happiness. Have you ever tried to force yourself to relax or force yourself to be happy? It never works. Because the truth is, the moment you stop forcing is the moment things start falling into place. But when you stop chasing happiness like it's a prize to be won and simply allow yourself to be present, it has a way of sneaking up on you. So maybe, just maybe, the secret isn't in trying harder, it's in letting go. Because when you stop gripping onto life as if it's a test you're terrified of failing, something surprising happens. You realize the things you've been chasing were never that far away to begin with. Yet most of us live with clenched fists, holding on to relationships, careers, and reputations as if control equals security. But what if that very grip is the thing suffocating what we want most? Picture holding a handful of sand. Keep your hand relaxed and open, and the sand stays put. But the moment you clench your fist to keep every grain from slipping, it pours right through your fingers. That's life. The harder you try to hold on, the faster things slip away. Think about relationships. Ever been on the receiving end of someone who is too eager? Constant texts, endless reassurance, a need to prove themselves. What happened? It felt heavy, suffocating. Desperate energy pushes people away. Now flip it. Think of someone calm, grounded, quietly confident. They weren't rushing, weren't begging for approval. They just existed fully as themselves. And that ease, that's what draws people in. Not desperation, not control, but trust. Trust in themselves and trust in life. And it doesn't stop with people. Success works the same way. How many stories have you heard of people grinding themselves into burnout, chasing money or status, only to end up miserable? And yet the moment they stop forcing, when they focus on what they genuinely enjoy, success seems to find them. Investors who panic and sell lose everything, while investors who trust the process win. Entrepreneurs who burn out chasing the wrong idea and then stumble onto something effortless that becomes their biggest success. Artists who create their best work only after they stop caring about judgment. The pattern is clear. The harder you chase, the faster it runs. The moment you let go, it finds you.
The truth is, the less you cling to outcomes, the more they seem to work in your favor. At first, it sounds completely backward, doesn't it? We've been trained to believe that success comes from obsessing over details, micromanaging every decision, and constantly worrying about what's next. But in reality, that obsession becomes the very block that keeps us stuck. Think back to those moments when everything just seemed to fall into place. You weren't overthinking, you weren't chasing, you were simply present, moving with the moment. And because of that, things aligned naturally. That's what happens when attachment loosens. Instead of being trapped in tunnel vision, your awareness widens. You start noticing opportunities that were invisible before. You become more flexible, more creative, and more in tune with what life is actually offering you. Athletes know this better than anyone. The greatest performances don't come from stressing over every move. They come from trusting the hours of practice, letting instinct take over, and allowing the game to flow. The same principle shows up everywhere else. The most magnetic people in social situations aren't the ones bending over backwards for approval. They're the ones who feel comfortable in their own presence. That quiet confidence is what makes them irresistible. Now compare that to times when you've walked into a room over-prepared, second-guessing every word, worried about how you look or sound. What happens? You freeze up. You feel stiff, disconnected, unnatural. That's because attachment creates pressure, and pressure kills flow. The irony is, the moment you stop making every interaction life or death, things become lighter. You take chances, not because you're reckless, but because you're no longer terrified of mistakes. You speak honestly, not because you need validation, but because you're enjoying the moment. And that's when doors open. This is why breakthroughs so often come after people finally stop obsessing. They give up chasing one dream job, and suddenly a better opportunity appears. They stop clinging to a relationship, and the right person steps in. They stop forcing their creativity, and inspiration pours back in. It isn't magic. It's the removal of resistance. When you loosen your hold, things move naturally. And once you see this for yourself, everything changes. You realize how much energy you've been wasting on control. You see that freedom doesn't come from holding tighter, it comes from letting life meet you halfway. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means shifting your energy from force to flow. So how do you actually do it? How do you practice detachment while still showing up fully? Here are 3 ways to begin. Step 1. Stop turning everything into a crisis. Most of what you're stressed about right now won't matter in a few months. The awkward comment you made, the deadline that felt enormous, the little mistake you replay in your mind, it fades. Pull back for perspective, and suddenly, it's not so heavy. Step 2. Trust timing more than control. This isn't about passively waiting. It's about doing your part, taking action, and then releasing the demand for a specific outcome. It's okay to want things, but the need for them to unfold in one exact way is where suffering starts. Step 3. Change your relationship with uncertainty. Instead of fearing the unknown, start seeing it as space. The future isn't carved in stone. It shifts according to how you show up now. And when you stop micromanaging every possibility, you leave room for outcomes that are often better than the ones you were clinging to.
The way you respond to challenges, the energy you project, the choices you repeat every single day, that's the space you actually have power over. And when you place your attention there instead of obsessing over results, you become steadier, harder to shake. The strange part? The moment you stop needing everything to fall perfectly into place, life has a funny way of making it happen anyway. When you drop the desperation, possibilities start slipping in through doors you didn't even know were there. The tighter you cling to expectations, the more life resists. But the second you loosen your hold, it begins to flow. So here's a test. For the next week, let the small stuff go. See what happens when you stop wasting energy on every tiny thing that bothers you. You might notice something wild. The less you push, the more life moves in your favor. And here's the hidden truth. When you stop over-explaining, stop over-apologizing, stop trying to impress, people lean in. The things you used to chase, they start chasing you. The chances you thought were out of reach, they appear when you least expect them. Because desperate energy pushes away, but calm confidence pulls everything closer. It's why the relaxed, easygoing person always seems magnetic, why the one who isn't begging for approval ends up respected without effort. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It means you trust yourself, trust life, and stop gripping so tightly that you suffocate what you want. And that kind of presence, it's irresistible. Now, here's something simple to try. Pay attention to how often you let things outside your control run your mood. Pay attention to how many worries will mean nothing in a week. And when you catch yourself spinning again, pause, breathe, and just say, whatever. Try it once. You'll feel lighter than you expect.